This is Sherron, the Modern Savvy CPA. Today we're going to talk about debit cards. I get the question about debit cards and credit cards and when to use what all the time. So I thought I would dedicate an entire video on your debit card. So this video is things you put on your debit card, things you should never put on your debit card. So let's talk about that. Personally, I'll give you my personal opinion on debit cards. I personally think that debit cards, from my experience, are too risky to spend on. So I do not use debit cards for anything. I only use the debit card if I need to go to the ATM and get cash, or I have to deposit money at the ATM for some reason. And in today's society, I just take a picture of the check and that's how I deposit it. So for the most part, that's what I use debit cards for. The second thing that debit cards are involved in my family for us is with my children. When they first start out learning about money, I get them a debit card. They have their own little account and they're able to understand. They put their little money in there. I want them to manage that themselves. So I have them see so they understand that a card is not just, you just use the card and that's it. I want them to understand the cash implication of money, and it's hard in today's cashless society for them to understand what cash is. So it's kind of like something that I try to teach them with. So that's one thing that we use debit card for. Years and years ago, my husband used to like using his debit card. So if that was the case, I used to have one single account that money went in for him, and he would only use his debit card for that. I would not have any other money in there. I wouldn't have my checking account stuff attached to it. It was just attached to his debit card and that's it. And I can't even tell you that account have gotten frauded so many times. I've seen it where people's business account gets frauded and money taken out of it. They have to change business accounts. It's such a pain in the ass. So I have not had experience in my work life, my financial life with my clients, and my understanding of debit card is not something that I am big on using. So I'm a nixnay on debit cards. So I'm just going to go over some of the things that I think is the reason why you shouldn't use your debit card and you shouldn't use your debit card for. So with the debit card, the transactions are instantaneous. So when the money leaves your account, the money leaves your account. Yes, the bank has some situations where there are some securities for it, but I don't know. Using a debit card for me, in my opinion, and like I said, this video is purely my opinion, is too risky. They don't offer a lot of financial protections. I am all about whatever I'm buying today. I want to make sure that I'm protected somehow, So the other thing is debit cards are very attractive to thieves when they're skimming on the skimming machines, the ATMs, or the other things. It's very attractive. So these are all the reasons why I just not a big debit card fan. I also like to manage my money. So I like to see, how much my total amount is, because sometimes when you have this much money, especially if you're using your debit card, you have a debit card for the account that you're also using to manage your household finances, like your checks, the one that pays your mortgage, that type of stuff, you don't really know, like if you don't like really not tracking that, you kind of have to track it even more than you're tracking your credit card, because you need to understand what you're doing in there and making sure that the money's left, and what happens if it gets fraud and your bank didn't put the money back in time, things like that. So you need to be looking at that. So here are some examples where I think you should never use a debit card for. Online purchases. It's safer, in my opinion, to pay with credit cards for online purchases. According to the FTC, cybercrime intercepts debit card numbers and they can immediately drain your account. I've seen that happen. I've seen it happen to clients. I've seen it happen with my husband and his little account that he had. Thank God we didn't have a lot of money in it, so I've seen it happen. For me, with the credit cards, there are protections. The federal law protects the debit card is protected in some way, but for me, the credit card is more protected. For example, the Fair Credit Billing Act gives you the right to dispute credit cards if there are errors, withhold payment from the credit card issuer, investigate things, generally there's a limit of unauthorized transactions on there. So, you want to do that. The second thing I wouldn't use a debit card for is gas. And I can tell you that my credit card has gotten frauded at a gas machine because it's easy to do skimming there. There's some machine there. But Amex, when my card got frauded, by the time I was on the highway, like a minute away, getting on the highway from the gas station, I got a text from Amex saying, there was an unauthorized transaction, yada, 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 whatever, and telling me. So it warns me. It tells me, that's something that, so I definitely, buying gas is like an open thing for thieves. They'll try to do that. So the card readers, they can grab your data for your debit or credit card. The magnetic strips, yes, we're getting better at it with the little, it's not the strips anymore. You're able to notice these things. So it's getting better, but still with the credit card, it's just safer to me because you can always dispute it. They keep better track. In my opinion, the credit card banks keep better track because they're responsible with the money. They're also responsible because there are certain safeguards like, disputing a charge, proving that you've done something, these type of things. When you use a debit card, there are some stuff, but it's just that it is immediately deducted out of your account. You have to fight to get the money back. You're not really sure about it. Eating out is another one that I use credit card for because of card skimmers. I think, you give them your card, they take your card. What is it that, you don't know? You've seen that situation where it could be an issue. And by the time you get home and you're seeing your debit card, the stuff is already gone out of your account, The other thing is hotel reservations. You want to make sure that you're covered for incidentals and stuff like that on hotel reservation. If you give your debit card to them, they hold a certain amount in the bank, right? So they'll put a hold on it. If a hold is on your money, that means that money cannot be used for other things. So not until they put back that hold, even if you're not spending any money, there's a hold on there. So, if you want to avoid that headache, you want to make sure that you use a credit card for those type of things. Car rentals. Now I know that car rentals, it's frowned on using debit cards. They don't even want you to use it. If you don't have a credit card, the car rental will cost you more daily on a fee. Some Hertz locations, for example, they charge customers extra for using a debit card. And then they take a really big amount of, deposit if it's a debit card, because it's like cash. If so you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of what the credit card is offering you with the car rentals. Other rental items, if you're planning an event or you're having a wedding or things like that, you want to make sure that you're giving this card to anybody. You want to make sure that you're doing that at an ease of mind. You want to make sure that when you give your credit card that it's protected for these things. So it's always my credit card because I know that I'm getting a protection on it. Big ticket items, I definitely, want to use my credit card for big ticket items. I just paid for some renovations on my pool. I don't even mind paying the little extra that they're going to charge me for the card because who knows, what if they disappear and something happens or, whatever it is. I have that certain protections on there. I can dispute the charge and get my money back if there's any issues. It's going to cost a good amount of money to renovate this pool. So I want to make sure that I have that protection on my card if something happens. With the debit card, your money is gone when it's gone out of the bank account, and if you notice the furniture is damaged or something happens, it's gone. You can't dispute anything. You can't complain about the manufacturer. You're not able to do that. Number 8 on the list is subscriptions and automatic purchases. You don't want to be using your debit card. It gets tempted to set it and forget it. You don't want to be using it for that. Your debit card will be put on file there. Let's say the company gets hacked. If they automatically charge it for something below the amount, you're and you are doing this every quarter. You forgot that you're doing this every quarter. You're in the red in your bank account. So if it's not in your budget and they take something out, to avoid overdraft fees, because then you're going to be, if you're in the red, then it's going to be overdraft fees, because these are automatic recurring expenses. So you want to make sure that you're looking at all these things when you're looking at whether you should use your debit card or not. So the last thing that I don't use my debit card for is I don't use it at any ATM machine. I try to use my bank ATM machine so I'm not charged a fee, and I also can trust my bank, so an ATM machine in, just a random place, I'm not so sure, it's like ripe for fraudsters. So I try not to do that. So if you're going to use it at the ATM, make sure you're using it at a trusted ATM. I believe in credit cards. And if you are disciplined about using your credit card, paying your credit card bill off when you get paid. Do not even wait for the end of the month. I look at my credit card bill every morning, and I look at what I'm spending. I'm looking at what my budget is, what we're looking at, and I pay my credit card bill at least 2 to 3 times a month, because we use it for everything, because we want the protections for it. I'm better able to budget. I can download all the transactions into my financial software. I can look at what I spent the last time. Even if you don't use a financial software, most of these credit card companies have a financial software built into them. They have financial literacy education. On top of that, you get the credit cards that I use have to benefit me. They have to be giving me something back from me getting my business. So the credit cards that I use, I am getting 2, 3, 4 times the benefit from what I'm paying for these credit cards, because I'm using it correctly. I'm using smart money habits, and I'm understanding what I'm doing. I'm paying attention, and I'm making sure that I get the best for my money, because it's a privilege for them to have me. So this is Sherron, the Modern Savvy CPA, and I hope you enjoyed this video on things never to put on your debit card. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, feel free to give me a follow to get updated on new and upcoming episodes, and listen in every Tuesday and Thursday, where I teach you smart money habits so you can make better money choices with a financial goal focus.